Previously on Higurashi When They Cry Kai, Ch.6.
見ようもしようもその意味においちゃ互角だと思うぞ。
Oh, that's the funniest thing I've heard all day.
なんだよ、お前ら何やってんだ?
Conspiring to decapitate you in your sleep. I'm going down the same path Satoshi-kun went last year. I feel like I'm experiencing deja vu. An unusual repetition. Well, you're not the only one.
私はレイナちゃんのこと好きよ。レイナちゃんは私のこと好き？
Do you want her to answer honestly? Or are you fine with a dishonest answer?
なめんなクソガキ。ガタガタ言わされてえか。
二度と家へ来ないでください。再婚なんて私が絶対に許さない。
殺しはしたかなかったんだけどね。二度とこんなうまいかもにゃ会えないだろうしさ。てめえ閉めてうん千万なら悪くはないさね。どうせ巻き上げたら蒸発するつもりだったしさ。
She tried to climb up the slope of garbage, slipped, fell, and rolled all the way back down. She didn't stand up or move. Her eyes were open, and her neck was bent at an unnatural angle. Teppei's eyes went wide. He didn't understand what was going on, but he understood that his life was in danger.
レーナ、ほらほら。
This is the face of a killer, ladies and gentlemen. And so it continues. Greetings, my name is Neosekken, and welcome back to my Let's Play of Higurashi When They Cry Kai, Chapter 6. I'm still sitting here wondering how long it's going to take before somebody eventually realizes what Rena has done to those two. Even though they arguably very much deserved it. But I guess that's just a matter of opinion. But more so, I'm curious to know who exactly was Rika talking to in that one tip. More interested to know more about that than anything else right now. So maybe we might learn more in whatever tips I end up unlocking at the end of this. I'm hoping that we'll learn more anyway. So let's just go ahead and get started and see what's going to be in store for us. It had been very hot for the past few days, and the corpses went rotten quickly. Any housewife knows how fast fresh meat can go bad. I know it too. That's why the first thing I did was to dismember the corpses. There was only one reason why I needed to dismember them. I had to reduce them to a portable size in order to carry them to a place where they'll never be found. The swamp? Oh wait, right, you already took care of them and put them inside the dump. When men see the words dismembered corpses, they'll probably feel disgusted because they don't cook. I cook and I'd still feel disgusted over that. But housewives are used to taking the guts out of fish, and they sometimes even see living maggots. They take the maggots off of the food, or even cook it with the maggots still on. Now that's disgusting. The heat will kill them after all. Still, women don't tell men what they do in the kitchen because men wouldn't eat the food if they knew. I'm pretty sure men and women wouldn't eat the food if they knew. So it didn't really bother me much to dismember them. I was released from all my problems by killing them. Cleaning up the mess was like nothing to me, because I got freedom and regained my happiness. Unfortunately, it's only temporary. I hate to rain on your parade here, but killing those two, even though they were scumbags, is not exactly a light act to do. especially as far as the rest of society is concerned. I dismembered the corpses using carpenter's tools like a saw and a hatchet. I'm wearing a black sweatsuit I bought for today because I thought I might get stained with blood. Smart. Bloodstains don't show on black fabric, and I could just throw it away after it's done. I brought a plastic sheet I found in the dump because I thought the blood might spread otherwise. If I did the work on this sheet, I could just burn it after I was done. In the end, dismembering human bodies is no different from preparing food on a chopping board. Please stop making that comparison. Good lord, it took you till freaking sunset to chop them up? I was very tired from chopping apart 2 adult bodies, but I didn't have a problem doing it. I cut off their arms, legs, and heads, dividing each body into 6 pieces. I heard before that blades get easily ruined by fat when you cut apart a corpse, so I brought many kinds of tools. Let me guess, it's because body fat has acidic properties to it, right? I don't know. This is news to me, so I'm just guessing. And I was right. I didn't have to go back and forth between here and my house to get another tool in the middle of work. A long time ago, the construction manager was murdered, and his body was dismembered here during the dam conflict. He was cut into 6 pieces in the same way. Well, I had 2 bodies, so there was double that, though. I remember the main suspect was still on the loose, and the victim's arm he hid hadn't been found yet. I wonder where he hid it. I'd like to ask him. I smiled wryly. The last thing you need right now is to find yourself associating with other murderers, Rena. Unlike the arms, legs, and heads, the torsos were difficult to take care of. I thought about cutting them into smaller pieces, but I decided against it because I thought it'd be troublesome to clean up the guts. I put each piece in a black trash bag and sprayed on a lot of deodorant. I wasn't sure that would help against the smell, though. I highly doubt it will, because the thing is, let's say you've been working out all day and you worked up a solid sweat and you got some BO on you. Typically, all body spray and deodorant really will do for you at that point. If you apply a lot of it on yourself, will just make you smell like a crap ton of deodorant and BO. Deodorant and body spray doesn't really mask BO as effective as a lot of people think it does, believe it or not. And I'm pretty damn certain that the same would also apply to at least a day-old corpses that have been chopped up into pieces and have had their interior extremities exposed to the world. A much stronger and nastier smell. So, yeah, again, forgive me for raining on your parade here, Rena, but I don't think that deodorant is going to really do jack shit to mask the smell of corpses. Many bugs flew around me while I was dismembering the corpses. After I finished putting in all the pieces into each bag, the bugs were still flying around, but that was just because they could smell the blood. After I cleaned up everything, they were all gone. Now all I needed to do was get rid of these 12 black bags. Burning them would be easiest, but I don't think I can burn them to ashes without using a cremator. The best way is to bury them somewhere. Swamp. You know, the kind of place that Shrek lives in. Other than the torsos, every piece is small enough to fit in my backpack. I could easily carry them without being noticed. Hey! I just now realized. Shrek is an ogre. An ogre is a type of demon in Japanese folklore mythology, so it kind of fits. Get Shrek to help you. I could throw them into the river running through the dam construction site. But if I did that, somebody would find them for sure. I've seen on the news several times before that a bag of a body part and it was found beside a river. Every time I heard something like that, I always thought the murderer was stupid. I thought about dumping him into the Onikafuchi swamp, but rotten meat floats. It will sink eventually, last I checked. I thought about weighting the bags, but there's no guarantee they'd stay down. Put on a lot of weight. So that left me one choice. To bury them. There are many unexplored mountains at the end of the abandoned districts around Yaguchi and Takasudo. It's probably best to bury them somewhere in the mountains. While it would be safe to bury them here in the garbage dump too, it's not perfectly safe. And so, I'm going to bury all these bags somewhere deep inside of a mountain in order to completely erase the two of them. My joints hurt, since I've been using muscles I don't normally use. I cleaned up the mess very carefully and got into my hideout. While still wearing the sweatsuit, I laid down on the mattress. I washed my hands carefully, but there was still dirt and blood under my nails. I should take a shower later and wash it off completely. When I say things like disposing of corpses, it sounds like I'm the greatest evil of the century. Well, I wouldn't exactly call a mortician evil for just simply doing their job, even though it involves disposing of corpses. No way, I think that's the wrong name. You know, it's the people that pick up dead bodies whenever there's any bodies that need to be disposed of. For some reason, I'm not forgetting what they're called. But that's only true if I get caught. What I did isn't a crime as long as I don't get caught. I beg to differ. Plus, I didn't do this because I wanted to commit a crime. I don't beg to differ. I didn't do anything wrong. I did this to protect my father's life and mine. People might speak ill of me, but I don't care about them. In the end, I don't think anybody can really pass judgment on my sins. You'd be very surprised what people will pass judgment on you for, no matter how petty. Sins aren't something to pass judgment on. They're something to confess and to atone for. In other words, nobody can measure the weight of a sin other than the person who committed the crime. Do I regret what I did? Do I feel sorry? Clearly not. No. I don't think I did anything wrong. I truly believe there was no better way than killing them. I'm sure it was the right thing because my life had already started to change since that night I killed them. A few days earlier, I just came home after killing Teppei. My father was cleaning the room Teppei had trashed earlier. His eyes were swollen. He'd been crying.
Rena, どこへ行ってたんだ?
あの男と話をしてきた。もうリナさんは二度とこの家に来ない。だからあなたも来ないでって言った。だから、あいつはもう来ないよ。
そんなのでおとなしくしてくれるやつじゃないぞ、きっと。レイナもしばらくは用心した方がいい。
It's hard to explain to him why Teppei would never come back. I can't tell him he shouldn't worry because I killed him. I grabbed ice cubes from the freezer and put them in a plastic bag and handed it over to my father.
お父さん。はい。ほっぺた、すごい腫れてるよ。
He must have only noticed it just then.
ああ、ありがと
う。私が片付けるからいいよ。掃除機持ってくるね。
レイナ。
He called out to me.
お父さんが悪かった。ごめんな。本当に。
仕方ないよ。あいつらは騙すのがなりわいだもん。だから、お父さんは騙されただけだよ。
レーナは、あいつらがそういう連中だって知ってたのか？
Well, yeah.
うん。最近だけどね。言っても信じてくれないと思って言わなかった。ごめんね。
He looked down. When he told me about how he wanted to get remarried, I told him that they were bad people, and that they scammed others with badger games. But he didn't listen to me. So, I was right in saying that he wouldn't have believed me at all. You wouldn't believe her even after all this?
お父さんは母さんとの離婚で落ち込んでいるところを付け入られたんだよ。
お父さんは、本当にダメなお父さんだよな。
Then he started talking about how he met Rena, as if trying to absolve his guilt. It was when he was suffering the most, and he needed to drink away his sorrow. At a bar he happened to go into, Rena-san was the one who came to his table. It was her job to be a good listener when her customers talked. Rena must really have been a great listener, and offered words of comfort when he talked about the divorce. If he was emotionally stable, he could have taken it as a kindness that she was only offering at the time. But he was so desperate that he took it the wrong way. After that, the tragedy was inevitable. He wanted to believe that it was destiny, and he glamorized everything about her. It'd be easy to laugh at him and say he was just dreaming. I don't really feel like laughing at him so much as just pitying the poor guy. But I don't blame him, because being weak is also part of being human. He had plenty of opportunities to grow suspicious of her questionable spending habits. But my father just read even that behavior as an attempt to cheer him up. How would her spending habits cheer anybody up, logically speaking? I can't be the only one confused by this, right? He bought everything she asked him to, and Rena had landed her catch. He shouldn't have brought his lover to the house where his daughter lived. But he was crazy about her, and he didn't even think about it.
お父さんは、お父さんであることを忘れちゃってたんだ。本当にどうかしてた。
He started crying. I held his shoulders gently.
いいよ。お父さんがそれに気づいてくれたなら、お父さんはお父さんなんだよ。私には一人しかいない。最後の肉親なんだから。
I really hope you realize just how much she cares for you. But I also, by that same token, also hope that you don't learn just how far she went to protect you. And I fear, because it would break your heart. I mean, why wouldn't it? Just, seriously, if you're really sorry about everything that's happened up until now, just try to be a better father. He couldn't stop moaning. We held each other and cried together. The next day, my father got up early in the morning. He was already cooking breakfast when I got up. And he told me,
お父さんは今日からしっかりするからな。
I'll hold you to that.
でもお父さん、目玉焼きを焼く前にサラダオイルは敷いた方がいいと思うかな。
久しぶりの台所なんで。
He pried off the burning eggs on the pan with a spatula, and he added salad oil to it. It was too late. Doing that just made it an even bigger mess. But I didn't say anything, because I wanted to eat his eggs. I waited at the table quietly. You're a real trooper, Rena. He put the burned eggs on a plate and brought them over to me. It looked like he tried to salvage them by adding cheese, but it didn't really work. Still, it smelled good and crispy. It actually stimulated my appetite. The thick-cut toast popped out of the toaster. I made coffee with extra milk and sugar because my father liked it sweet. We put everything on the table. It looked terrible, like the cooking class of an elementary school. But to me, it was precious, because my father tried very hard to make it, wearing the apron.
匂いだけなら美味しそうだよ。あとは味だね。
やっぱり食事はレーナがやった方がいいかもな。これじゃかえって悪い気がする。
Well, you can learn and improve your cooking skills.
お父さんが仕事で忙しくなったら、また私が代わるよ。
It had been a taboo to talk about work in our house. He hadn't worked since the divorce. It wasn't only because of the divorce, though. He just didn't have to work because the settlement my mother gave him was so huge. Well, considering how much he spent on what's her face, he's got a good amount of money to earn back from all of that. So, yeah. And plus, I would think him having a job would also be good for him. Him having additional responsibility might also help get his act back together. Give him something productive to do with his life. Plus, I let him be lazy because I felt guilty about the divorce. But my father cleared his wrongdoing by showing repentance to me. I think he needs to back up that repentance with some action, though, just to be on the safe side. It'll make the repentance mean a whole lot more by backing it up with some action. And I also atoned for my sin of not doing anything about my mother by doing what I did the previous night. All you did was just atone for one sin by committing another. Now, we are free of sin.
お父さん、仕事を探してみるよ。今日は職案に行ってこようと思う。
それはいいね。
It's not money that he wanted. He just needed a normal lifestyle.
こんな年で体力もないからな。いい仕事があるか不安だよ。
どんな仕事ならいいの？
事務の仕事がいいけど、この年じゃなかなか雇ってもらえないだろうな。
私の友達に聞いてみるよ。みーちゃんはこの辺りの大地主のお嬢さんだから、ひょっとすると紹介してくれるかもしれないよ。
いいよいいよ、仕事くらい自分で探すよ。その程度にはしっかりしないとな。
That you do. I don't remember the last time we enjoyed breakfast like this. I don't even remember the last time we had breakfast together. For the first time in a long time, the morning light felt refreshing. I wanted to keep enjoying life like this. But unfortunately, I had to go to school. I told him that I'd skip school that day, and that I wanted him to take me somewhere fun. But he tried to be a good father and said I had to go to school.
じゃあ、私、学校行くね。
ああ、行ってらっしゃい。
He followed me to the front door. I was a bit embarrassed for some reason. He talked to me while I was tying my shoes. He followed me here because he wanted to see me off, But not because he wanted to see me off, but because he wanted to tell me something.
お父さんは母さんとの離婚の後ずっと寂しかった。でもお父さんはレイナと一緒だから寂しくなんかないんだ。そうだ、最初から寂しがることなんか何もなかったんだ。
There was nothing wrong with feeling sad about your divorce, but how you reacted to it, especially once a very predatory person came into your life. I mean, your actions were not exactly what I'd call healthy or smart.
お父さん、それを家族って言うんじゃないかな。
そうだな。そんなことを娘に教わるようじゃダメだな。
じゃあ、ケイチ君を待たせてるから、もう行くね。
いってらっしゃい。ああ、そうだ、レイナ。今日はお父さんが夕食を作るぞ。食案に行くついでに買い物をしてくる。
If you're gonna cook in a pan, be sure to put the oil in first.
朝食みたいな失敗はしないから楽しみにしてるんだぞ。
楽しみにしてるよ。行ってきます。
I left the house. My father saw me off, still in the apron. It was the first step of our new life. I finally regained it. I finally regained everything we lost after we left Hinamizawa. My mother wasn't around, but I didn't feel sad because I had my father. The cries of the cicadas sounded as if they were celebrating my new life. The sunshine was bright, and the wind was sending up a nice breeze. The only thing that wasn't nice was the ticking clock. I was late because I spent too much time talking to my father. Keiichi-kun might already be gone. I don't think he'd be waiting for me that long. But he was there anyway. Hello.
よう、おはよ
おはよう。遅れてごめんね。ごめんね。
う。いいってことよ。普段は俺がレナを待たせてるんだからな。たまには俺を待たさせろ。
ずいぶん遅くなっちゃったね。早足で行った方がいいかな。
そうだな。チャキチャキ行こうぜ。さもないと走る羽目になりそうだ。
Why not just jog from here to there and just go that way? It's not full on running, but it's not a speed walk either. Plus good exercise.
みーちゃん、さすがに先に行っちゃってるかな。
待ってるだろう、絶対。俺たちは仲間だぜ。絶対に見捨てないし、勝手に行っちゃったりはしないよ。それはそうと、今日は朝からいいことでもあったのか？
Apparently, yes. Daddy's getting his act together.
どうしてかな。
いやさ、今朝のレナは普段にも増して上機嫌そうだったからさ、特別なことでもあったのかなって。
The good mood I was in must have been too obvious for Keiichi-kun to ignore. I had not my only family, but my friends too. I felt something warm spreading in my heart.
それがね、聞いて。朝食をお父さんが作ってくれたんだけどね。それがね。
なんだよ、目玉焼きはそれで正しいだろ？サラダオイルってのはサラダに使うもんなんだろ？
みーちゃんたちに教えてあげようっと。なんですって？
What did who say?
それは許しがたい暴言でございましてよ。
How rude are they?
おう、上等だぜ。そこまで言うからには 直接対決も辞さない覚悟だろうな。
Anywho, good morning, Satoko.
おおお、盛り上がってるじゃない。
And good morning to you, Mina.
なんなら今日の部活さ、
Where'd I
さと
get
こと
Mina
けいちゃんで外馬行こうか。
みーちゃん、外馬って何かな？
ああ、外馬ってのはよ。つまり、俺とサトコだけで賭けをするってことさ。部活の順位がそのまま勝敗になって、負けた方は俺たちだけのペナルティを課す。
Interesting.
つまり、どっちが勝っても負けても、僕はとっても楽しいのです。
どうするさとこ。
素敵な勝負でございますことよ。部活にビリで罰ゲームな上に、さらに私に負けてダブルで罰ゲームなんて、こんな素敵なことがございまして。
よーしさとこ、よく受けたね。よっしゃ、今日の部活は2人の外馬付きでやろう。
What is today's game gonna be exactly?
部活の種目より、罰ゲームを何にするか考える方が楽しいのですよ。
I had no idea you were this sadistic, Rika. You continue to surprise me.
確かに楽しいよな。サトコがどんな悲惨な目に遭うか、今から想像できちまうぜ。
それはケイチさんのことでございましてよ。むにゃー、むにー、やりましたわね、むにゅー。
ほらほら2人とも、勝負はまだ始まってないって。
Chi-sensei opened the door and came in. Hello, Kuri-sensei.
皆さんお待たせしました。それでは帰りのホームルームを始めますよ。
Everybody headed to their seats.
みーちゃん、
何？
ケイチくんとサトコちゃんがとても盛り上がっているところで申し訳ないんだけど。
My dad is a bum and needs a job.
ごめんね。ちょっと今日も用事があって、すぐ帰らないといけないの。
A rich bum.
そう
I
な
forgot to
の？
add rich.
もう用事じゃ仕方ないな。お家の仕事？
うん。
家事ってんじゃおじさんは口出しできないな。うちはお手伝いさんに全部任せっきりだからね。
たまにはみーちゃんも家事手伝いとかすればいいのに。きっと花嫁修行になるよ。
ご安心を。万事その手のスキルに関してはつつがなく習得済みですので。
And what skill is that exactly, if you don't mind my asking? Michan looks like the kind of girl who tries to stay away from chores as much as possible, but she can actually do everything. That's just who she is. She went through hard times to learn those things, but she acts like she learned them without any struggle. That's who she is. I like that about her.
なんだよレナ。帰っちゃうのかよ。
ケイチさんが恥ずかしい格好で職員室にお伺いしなくちゃならないところをご覧になりませんの？
Well, I won't lie. I wouldn't mind seeing a repeat of that.
見物なのに残念なのです。
I know. It is a pity.
うん、ごめんね。
昨日も家の用事だったじゃねえかよ。何かあったのか？
うん、ちょっとね、いろいろもう何日かかかるかもしれない。
じゃあ当分レナは部活に参加できないかな。
かもしれない。なるべく早く復帰できるように頑張る。
その用事は俺たちには手伝えることか？例えば古い家具を運び出すとか、そういう力仕事なら言ってくれ。応援に行くぜ。
家の模様替えとかかい？おじさんたちみんなで手伝うよ。
レナさんの家のお手伝いで優劣を競うのもありですわよね。多分 お手伝いしない方が優勝なのです。みんなありがとう。気持ちだけもらっておくね。
じゃあ仕方ない。竜宮レナを本日付で我が部より戦線離脱とする。
Farewell, General. I promise to return in a few days. Hold the front lines until
おうちの仕事が片付くま
then.
で休暇とするので、英気回復の上、再び戦線へ復帰することをここに命ずる。
Yes, sir.
まあ4人なら4人で遊べるゲームもあるしね。そうだそうだ、ケイちゃんは麻雀とかできる？
おう、親父の仕事関係の人たちの卓に無理やり混ぜられることもある。
You poor bastard.
もちろん私たちは麻雀だって精通していましたよ。
After that, they fooled around and made a lot of noise, just like they always did. I looked at them and reminded myself that I'd always have a place to return to. I left the classroom with a smile. I was going to Yaguchi on my bicycle. I had to find a place to bury the bags of the body parts. Hopefully, I could finish burying them all of them today before it gets dark. With that, everything would be over and done with.
パイの背中が竹だってのがなんだか怖いよな。
You really better hope that somebody from the nearby police precincts doesn't get the idea to use bloodhounds to search for our missing loan sharks.
まさか岩パイってことはないだろうな。
さて、どうでございましょうね。
Does the text have a slight yellow tint to it, or is it just me?
圭一さんには以前の時事抜きの時に手痛い思い出がございますものね。
If I'm not just seeing things, then I wonder. Am I playing from like Satoko's perspective now or something? I'm guessing because you know it's yellow and it's pretty much her color, you know, with her name and everything. Well, then again, if that was the case, then Rena's text would be orange. I don't know. Maybe I'm just seeing things.
安物のパイだしさ。そのくらいの要素がないと我が部らしくないでしょ。
ミー、赤は何枚混ぜるのですか？6つ？
Rika-chan sounded professional, and it scared me. Oh well. I should start by checking the tiles. It's Keiichi. Right. Playing mahjong with my family is different than playing it as a club activity. I have to be cautious. It's possible that the one tile is missing, or that there's an extra of a particular tile in here.
そんなことしないって。
Oh,
で
really?
も着想は面白いね。
So that little card game that we played towards the beginning of chapter 1 with that special deck never happened, huh? Right.
そういう手もあるか。なるほどなるほど。
よしよし、パイをみんな表にして並べてみよう。
Well, to be fair, it probably didn't even happen in this timeline, for all I know.
ほれほれほれ。
Good news is I'm no longer seeing yellow text.
あれ、おい、誰かのとこにチュンが1個隠れてないか。
ピンズとソースの6が1個ずつ足りないですわね。あら、マンズの6も1個足りませんでしたよ。
Well, I don't think Satoko is in on whatever trap this is.
なんだなんだ？
Maybe.
随分と足りないじゃないか。
ああ、そうだったそうだった。ちょいと待って。
Myeon hit the palm of her hand with her fist, moved her chair aside, and stuck her finger into a gap in the floorboards. She then pulled a tile out of there.
はいよ、まずはチュンね。
You did take him out.
あとの3つはどこだったっけな。
おい待てミオ、どうして麻雀のパイが教室のあちこちに隠してあるんだよ。
にゃはははは。まあまあ。
She must have hidden the other 3 tiles somewhere in the classroom and forgot where. We couldn't play Mahjong with 3 tiles missing. I suggested playing another game, but Mia insisted that we had to find them and suggested making that treasure hunt our game.
まあ確かに圭一さんと勝負をつけるなら種目は何でもいいわけでございますけど、もうちょっとまともな種目がいいですわね。
Maybe we could add something extra to this treasure hunt of ours?
同感だな。それにこの教室に本当にあるかも怪しいんだろ。
多分あると思うんだよ。あるいはおじさんが懐にしまったまま帰っちゃって洗濯機の脇に置いてあるとか。
Well,
なあ。
well, then we might just end up going on a wild goose chase then. I recommend checking the total number of tiles after we play Mahjong with Neon next time. Everybody except Neon nodded in agreement.
何よ。教室宝探し対決じゃ不満？
You've been overruled, General.
つうかミオンのイカ様の後始末だろ。お前の責任でやれ。部活を私的に使うな。
ブーブー。じゃあどうする？麻雀は無理だしね。他何する？である人。
As our club president, Neon usually decides what we'll play. We couldn't just come up with something on the spot. I couldn't, excuse me. While we were all thinking, Neon hit her palm with her fist, just like she did earlier.
じゃあさみんな、パイの宝探しが嫌ならさ、もうちょっとでっかく宝探しをしようじゃない？
We go into the dump?
宝探しといえばレナのお家芸。
ってことはダム現場のゴミ山か。
Not sure I like this tune that just started playing.
あそこってあんまり行ったことないんですけど、結構広いですわよね。
Oh, fuck. If they end up showing up right as she's trying to get rid of the bodies. Oh dear. Oh dear, they're probably gonna see what she did.
あそこはバラバラ殺人の幽霊が出るから近寄らない方がいいらしいのですよ。
幽霊上等じゃないの。そのくらいの演出つかないと宝の山としてはインパクト弱いよね。
へえ、そんな噂あるのかよ。確か主犯が未だ逃走中。そいつの隠した腕一本が未だ見つからないとか言うんだろ。
その腕を探して監督さんが幽霊になってさまよっているという噂があるのです。あらあらリカ、幽霊が嫌いなんですの？いいお年にもなって恥ずかしいですわね。僕は巫女ですから見たくなくても見えてしまうのですよ。
うわ、なんだよそれ。霊感。確かに見える人には当たり前のように幽霊が見えるって話聞いたことあるな。
バカバカしいですわね。リカと一緒にずっと住んでますけど、そんなの一度も見たことありませんでしたよ。さとこに見えてないだけなのですよ。
I honestly can't tell if Rika is being truthful or not, but if she is, then I guess that would explain why Satoko doesn't seem to be aware of this other girl that I've seen Rika talk to in these tips. So she's a spirit then?
さとこがお布団で寝てるときはいつもニパー。
Then again, I don't know. I think I need more information. I might be jumping to conclusions too quick to conclusions here.
リカ、そこで笑ってはぐらかさないでくださいませ。私が寝てるときは何なんですの？
Satoko, I feel sorry for you. You can pretend you're not scared of ghosts during the day, but I'm pretty sure you get scared when it gets dark. I'm gonna have to make a silent phone call tonight just to scare the hell out of her. Keiichi, you dick.
ま
I
あ
like that
私も
plan.
含めてなんだけど、ダム戦争の後に好き好んであそこに出入りする人はいないんじゃないかね。レナくらいだよ、楽しそうにあそこで遊んでるのは。
レナのカーイモードの前に幽霊が出た日にゃ、彼岸の向こうからでもお持ち帰りされかねんな。
確かにありそうですわね。はう、お持ち帰りって。
So easy to imagine that it was so easy to imagine that all of us laughed.
じゃあ決まり。今日はゴミ山探検にしよう。
Oh dear. Yep, it's happening. It's definitely
幽霊を
happening.
見つけられたら優勝。辞典は隠された右腕。その次はじゃあレナが気に入りそうな何かだね。
Rena, if you're now would probably be a good time to spontaneously remember that you had a very important house chore to take care of. So, if you don't want to have your friends suddenly show up when you least expect them to and see you with those bodies, now would be a very good time to remember something like that and go take care of it.
レナに見せて白黒をつけてもらうってことでどうよ。
私は優勝で、ケイチさんはビリで、ダブル罰ゲームが楽しみですわね。
おいおい、サトコいいのかよ。優勝ってことは幽霊。
ちょっとやめてくださいませ。暑苦しいですわ。僕もお化けが怖いので行きたくないのです。もとは何ですの？もとは、私は全然怖くなんかありませんわよ。ケイチさん、お話遊ばせ。
では行くよ諸君、出撃準備。
Oh dear. Oh dear. Reina's night is gonna be ruined. So freaking hard. And it'll be over with. Everything will be over and done with. Yes, it'll be over when the Higurashi cry. Title drop. Somewhat.
これで全部かな。
Okay, so I guess that's pretty much what brought us up to here. They showed up. They found her handiwork, and so here we are. Rena finished making her confession. There was no applause or curtain call. It was a quiet and lonely stage that Rena performed on alone. I think I'd forgotten to blink since her confession started. Everybody else seemed to be feeling the same way. Rena looked at us, like she was a teacher waiting for questions from her students. We noticed that she was imitating what Ch.6 does at the end of class, and we all smiled bitterly.
さっきまでね、野号地の方に行ってたの。袋を埋める場所を探しに。絶対見つからない場所に隠そうと思うと、なかなかいい場所が見つからないの。自分の家の庭に埋める方がむしろ安心じゃないかななんて 考えたりもしたっけ。でも、それじゃあやっぱり危ないよね。お父さんが突然、家庭菜園をやりたいなんて言い出すかもしれないもん。やっぱり、遠くの山奥がいい。あの女を、たとえ死んだ後でも、お父さんに近づけたくなかったし。
I felt like I did something very bad. Rena's plan was going smoothly. If I'd only hunted for the mahjong tiles instead of insisting on doing something else, this wouldn't have happened. Well, there was no way you could have known what you would have stumbled into, so don't beat yourself up too hard, or at all. When I looked at the others, they all seemed to be regretting their actions too. If Mion hadn't come up with the idea to play at the garbage dump, if Satoko hadn't found the broken refrigerator, if Rika-chan had convinced us not to go, none of you are at fault. Rena could have had a few more days, and she could have gotten rid of these trash bags. They never would have been found. Then what would have happened next? Nothing. Everything would have remained the same. We could have kept having happy and peaceful days. Rena had been through a hard time, but she'd been forcing her face into a smile for us. The fake smile was supposed to become a real smile one day. None of us were supposed to notice that Rena was going through a hard time. After a while, Rena was supposed to be able to forget the bitter memory of killing these two, and she was supposed to live as if nothing had happened. But now, all of her effort, all of her courage, had been ruined.
人殺しはいけないことだってことは、私だって知ってるよ。したくなんかなかったし、これからだってしたくないと思ってる。でもね、これが最善の努力だったって信じてるし、私は悪いことをしたなんて、これっぽっちも思ってない。私は、幸せで平穏な生活を取り戻すために、神様から与えられた等しいチャンスの中で、最大限に努力しただけ。製品であれば不幸せでもいいなんてのは、満たされた人間の綺麗事だよ。その精一杯は、世界中の誰にだってけなせない。むしろ、私を褒めてほしいくらい。称えてほしいくらい。竜宮レナは、自らの運命と戦った。そして打ち勝った。
Yeah, you fought for your fate, you won it. But the real question I want to ask you is, was it worth it in the end, considering everything happening right now? Now that we know what you did, do you have any regrets at all? I don't know why I did it, but I interrupted her. I shouldn't have. But I thought I needed to tell her this, so I did.
でもレナ、どうして俺たちに相談してくれなかったんだよ。
相談？
そうだよ。俺たちは仲間だろ。仲間ってのは何があっても無条件で味方になってくれる家族同然の存在じゃないのかよ。俺たちに相談してくれれば何かの力になれたかもしれない。そうすればレナは自分の手を汚さずに済んだかもしれない。
Well, he's not wrong. What Rena told us made me sad. I couldn't help myself from saying that to her. Rena told us straight that she did the best she could. She told us that right to our faces. It's the same thing as saying that she didn't need us in order to do the best she could.
ケイちゃん、今はそんなこと言っても。
いや、頼む。言わせ、喜びだって苦しみだって分け合うのが俺は仲間だって思ってる。だから レナが相談してくれたら、きっと今よりもより良い未来へたどり着けていたと信じてる。
今よりより良い未来？そんなのないよ。
Only if you believe
これが
that
最善の未来
is
だ
the
よ。
case.
嘘だな。
My shout seemed to scare her a little. I knew that Rena didn't believe that this was the best possible future. She just didn't have any other choice. If she had other choices, she definitely wouldn't have chosen this one.
だってその証拠に、レナはさっきから泣いてるじゃないか。
は？誰が？私が？いつ涙を流したの？
今だよ。ずっと流してるじゃないか。自分で分かってないのか？
In fact, I didn't see any tears in her eyes or on her face at all. But that didn't mean she wasn't crying. Rena was crying. She was crying because she was driven into a corner after all the hard work she did to become happy. Her tears looked so sad. Anyone who couldn't see those tears wasn't really thinking about her.
私は泣かないよ。誰が泣くものか。私は正しいことをした。最善の選択をした。それでどうして泣かなくちゃならないの？ケイチのバカバカ。何を言ってるか全然わかんないや。
You do know what he's talking about.
それが泣いてるって言ってんだよ。
Rena stopped laughing all of a sudden, and she spoke with a cold expression on her face.
じゃあいいよ。ケイチ君の言った通りにしたとしてみよう。私がみんなにお父さんとあの女のことを打ち明けた。さあ、どうしてくれるの？
まずは、
まずは何？ん？
Well, those two assholes were connected to Mion's family. So, I don't think it would have been unreasonable to think that Mion could have pulled a few strings to get those two to back off, just from their connections to the Sonozaki family. Rena never talked to me like this before. It was as if she was mocking my ignorance, and that made me shut my mouth.
ケイチ君は去年を知らないんだよ。
去年？
そう、
Last year.
去年。昭和57年6月。
Are you talking about Satoshi's disappearance?
私と同じように人を殺めることでしか抜けられない不幸の迷宮に閉じ込められた人のお話を。
You sure it's a good idea to bring this up in front of Satoko? Satoko gasped.
ケイチ君はあまり知らないよね。北条聡君のことは。
I know that he's Satoko's older brother. He's been missing, but people say he transferred. There's a rumor that he killed his aunt for Satoko's sake. Therefore, it's been taboo to talk about Satoshi in my class. Actually, in all of Hinamizawa.
聡君もね、私と同じだった。ただ幸せで平穏な日々が欲しかっただけ。妹と静かに暮らせる生活が欲しかっただけ。ケイチ君も去年殺されたさとこちゃんのおばさんがどういう人だったかは噂聞いてるよね。
If what I heard is true, then this is what happened. After Satoko lost her parents, her uncle and aunt got custody of her and her brother, and they were miserable people. But they were miserable people. Her aunt was especially cruel to Satoko. Satoshi was the kind of guy who wouldn't even hurt a fly. But his aunt probably was the only one whom he didn't have a problem killing. That's how terrible a person she was.
北条家のトラブルはね、ひなみ沢では誰もが知っていたんだよ。おばさんがヒステリックで誰彼関係なく食ってかかることも、サトシ君とサトコちゃんを意味もなくいじめていたことも全部ね。もちろんクラスの誰もが知っていた。御三家の当主跡継ぎであるみーちゃんとリカちゃんだってもちろん知ってたし、サトコちゃんに至っては当事者だもんね。圭一君の言う仲間たちはひなみ沢の誰よりもよくサトシ君の辛さを分かっていたはずなんだよ。それで結果はどうだった？誰かがサトシ君を助けてくれた？
No, they didn't.
誰も助けなかった。みーちゃんは一番力があるくせに村のしがらみがどうとかよくわからない理由で煙に巻いて、結局無責任な同情の言葉をかけて傷つけるだけだった。
そんなことはないよ。
嘘だ！サトシ君は分かってたよ。みーちゃんが口ぶりだけは同情してるふりをしながらも全然助ける気がないことを分かってた。だからサトシ君はね、途中からみーちゃんのことを嫌うようになったんだよ。普段は仲間だとか友達だとか言っておきながら、結局は北条家をいじめる園崎家の一味でしかなかったってね。
That's not true and you know it.
私は別に何も救わずに放置した。サトシ君の助けてほしい思いを同情という言葉で拒絶したんだ。それがどれほどサトシ君を傷つけたか分かってる？
Mion tried to find something to say, but failed to do so. She bit her lip instead.
それはリカちゃんも同じだよね。
Now Rena was pointing fingers at Rika-chan. Unlike Mion, Rika-chan looked emotionless and empty, just like Rena did.
リカちゃんは確かにみーちゃんに比べたらその発言力は微々たるものかもしれない。でも神社に出入りしてるお年寄りたちにとても大きな発言力を持っていたはずだよ。リカちゃんにもできる努力があったのにしなかった。リカちゃんも結局はみーちゃんと同じ。哀れみの表情を浮かべて小娘を装っただけだった。するのはサトシ君やサトコちゃんを慰めるだけ。その根本原因に対して何の手も差し伸べようとしなかった。
What could she have realistically done, Rena? You're not stupid. Think about this for a second.
そんな無慈悲な哀れみがどれほど残酷だったか想像できる？サトシ君が欲しかったのは救いだった。誰かに助けて欲しかった。自分の力だけではどうしても抜け出せない苦境だったから。首まで沈もうとする沼の中で精一杯手を伸ばして誰かに掴んでもらうことを期待していたんだよ。そうね。
Rika-chan's voice sounded mature. It was very different from how she usually sounded.
サトシたちを救う方法がわからなかったから慰めることしかしなかった。それにかまけ救う何かを探し続けなかった罪は否定しないわ。わかってるじゃない。
Rena gave her a twisted smile. That ugliness caused me to look away.
そしてサトコちゃん、あなたに信じられるかわからないけれど、あなたの罪はとても重い。
I didn't understand why she was blaming Satoko. I tried to take her side, but I gasped in surprise when I looked at her. She looked like she was accepting the sin that Rena had mentioned. Satoko must have wanted to confess her sin before Rena pointed it out to her. And so, Satoko opened her mouth first.
信じてくださるかどうかはわかりませんけど、ちゃんと気づいてますのよ。その罪。
そうなんだ。
ニーニーがいなくなってしまったあの夜に気づきましたのよ。それを、どうしてニーニーがいるうちに気づけなかったのか。
わかるよ、その気持ち。後悔した時にはもう遅いというのは、私も同じだったから。だから私は、同じことがもう一度起こったから、今度は戦った。さとこちゃんのその罪は、きっと将来あがなえるよ。その罪に気づけたなら、きっとね。
それでも、もう、ニーニーは帰ってきませんのね。
I definitely did not want to hear you say those words, of all people, Satoko. That he's not coming back. Satoko looked down sadly. Usually, Satoko would say the opposite. She always said that Satoshi was coming back one day without a doubt. But now, she accepted the fact that he would never return. She accepted it easily, as if she knew it already. Because he's her brother.
ね?
I beg to differ, honestly. I mean, Chapter 5 itself has shown that even in the worst possible situation, she still held out to hope. So I don't think she accepted it as easily as you think. She asked me all of a sudden.
これが私と同じ苦境にいた昭和57年のみんな。サトシ君は自分を助けてくれそうな人たちにはみんなに全てを話したよ。助けてほしいと言ったし、辛いとも言った。打ち明けた、相談した。転校してきたばかりの私にまでね。それはみっともないことじゃない。本当に不幸な人はね、必死なんだよ。サトシ君は自分でも懸命に頑張ってた。それでもどうにもならないからみんなに助けを求めた。ずっと求めてた。でもね、これが圭一君の言う無条件で味方になってくれる仲間たちの体たらくなんだよ。仲間なんて楽しくてどうでもいい時間を一緒に寄り合って過ごすだけのお友達。本当に辛い時に味方になってなんてくれないんだよ。
That's bullshit and you know it, Rena.
昔からそうだったよ。引っ越し先でもそうだったからね。だから私、自分がサトシ君と同じ状況になったと知った時、私は仲間に打ち明けるのなんかやめようってね。
Tell me something. Does all this apply to you as well? What you say in regards to what friends actually are?
だって、どうせ誰も助けてくれないし、助けられないもの。なら、同情なんて気がめいるだけなんだよ。せめて学校にいる間くらい楽しく過ごした方が気が紛れていいかもしれないもの。実際、みんなと楽しく過ごす学校の時間は楽しかったよ。とっても幸せだった。あの女たちとのトラブルをわずかの時間でも忘れることができて、本当に良かった。サトシ君もそれに気づけていたらよかったね。そうだったなら、学校での時間くらいは楽しく過ごせて、 あそこまで心を追い詰めずに済んだかもしれない。どうせ自らの手でおばを殴り殺す以外に解決方法はなかったのだし。転校してきたばかりで村のこともほとんど覚えていない私には、サトシ君をどう助けてあげればいいかわからなかった。できるのは話を聞いてあげて少しでも心を軽くしてあげるだけ。でもそれ以上に助けることができたのかもしれないし、私もその努力を怠っていたかもしれない。それなのに昭和57年の私はサトシ君と仲間のつもりだったんだよね。
Rena's self-derisive laughter changed into grievous sobs. Her tears gradually wore away at our relationship of trust. Nobody will help me. Friends are just people whom you have fun with. You can't trust them. The more Rena cried, the clearer we heard her voice in her heart. Mion, Satoko, and Rika-chan looked into the distance with sad expressions on their faces. I was the only one who could say anything back to her now. I had to tell her this. And she knew it too. She just needed to hear it from someone. I braced myself to tell her something that might hurt everybody.
よくわかったぜ、レナ。昭和57年のことはよくわかった。こいつらが白状だったってこともわかったさ。でもよ、サトコだって言ったろ。こいつらはみんな自分の罪に気がついた。後悔した。だから今度は違うはずだ。今度は仲間の苦しみを真に理解して助けてくれるはずなんだ。
去年いなかった人に言われても信憑性ないね。
ああ、そうだ。俺は去年いなかった。だから残念だぜ。去年の俺がもしサトシのために絶対に戦った。
嘘だ。
嘘じゃねえ。俺はひなみ沢に来てからどれだけ仲間がかけがえのないものかを知った。だからそんな仲間たちを救うためなら、俺はサトコやサトシをいじめるおばがそんなにもうぜえやつなら、サトシになんかもったいねえ。この俺が叩き殺してやった。ものの1500秒でだ。躊躇なんかしねえぞ。速攻だ。学校の倉庫あたりから金属バットの一本もちょろまかして即ぶっ殺してた。
口先だけならどうとでも言えるね。
And it was pretty easy for him to do too in previous chapters.
人を殺すのにどれだけの思い切りがいるかも知らないくせに。
知らねえし知る必要もねえな。仲間を救う以上の義務がどこにあるってんだ。
圭一君は全然分かってない。人を殺すことがどれだけ汚らわしい行為で、どれだけ自らを美化しようとも決して振り払えない汚れであることを分かってない。
So you know that all that justification, those justifications you were saying earlier was just that.
そうだな。確かに仲間を救うためでも直ちに人殺しってのは短絡的すぎるよな。レナの言い分に相反するようで悪いけど、悪いことに悪いことで立ち向かうってのは多分うまくいかないようにできていると思うんだ。
Thank you.
仲間のためなら人殺しだって厭わない、その精神だけは立派だと思う。だけどな、悪いことで得た平穏ってのは絶対に長く続いたりしないんだ。 それを人は本能的に知ってるから悪いことを嫌うんじゃないかと思うんだ。
何それ。圭一君が何を口走ってるのか
Oh,
よく
yes.
わかんないよ。
Oh, yes, you do. She didn't have to tell me that. I was aware I wasn't making any sense. But, for some reason, I could easily imagine a world like that. A world in which I saved my precious friends by committing an evil act. The dramatic irony is just thick with this. The peace I seized by doing that evil didn't last long. It got worse. It ended in a way as terrible as the sin I committed. This was a memory that shouldn't exist. I don't know why, but I know for a fact that happened. In that world a possibility. You drawing memories from chapter 3? If only faintly?
俺も自分で何を言ってるのか意味がわからなくなった。
For some weird reason, I couldn't prevent myself from smiling in embarrassment even in a situation like this.
でもレナは分かってるはずだ。だから自らの手を汚すほかなかった運命を助けて欲しかった俺たちを嘆いてるんじゃないか。レナは殺人者になんかなりたくなかったんだ。これが最善の選択だったなんて絶対嘘なんだ。だからさっきからずっと泣き続けているんじゃないか。
そうだ嘘だ嘘だ嘘だそんなのは嘘だ。
嘘かどうかはお前が一番知ってるんじゃねえか。最初から後悔してるんだろ。たとえ誰にも知られることなく死体を隠せたとしたって一生両手についた血は落とせないんだ。そんな十字架を背負って生きていく苦痛をどうやってごまかす。一つしかない。これしか方法がなかったと思い込むことだけじゃないか。それはつまり仲間に相談する価値がないって思うこと。仲間を一生否定し続けるってことだぞ。レナにとって俺たちはその程度の存在だったのか。違うだろ。本当に助け合える関係なのが仲間だってことを一番最初から信じてたんだろ。確かに去年の仲間たちはまだ未熟だった。だからサトシを不幸な運命から救えなかった。でも人は成長するんだ。ミスは二度と犯さないし後悔は二度と繰り返さない。だから信じろ。俺たちは仲間だ。お前の一番の味方なんだ。
つまりそれは私も未熟だったってこと？
そうだ。仲間たちが日々成長していることを信じられなかったレナも未熟だ。だがそれを責める気はないぜ。俺たちだってレナが一人悩むのを今日まで気づけなかった。人は語り合うことでしか胸の内を明かせない。だから今日のこの場までは仕方がなかったことかもしれない。そういう意味では言いたくはないが、今日という日がレナにとって最善の選択の向こうにあったことを認めざるを得ないかもしれない。でも俺たちは今この場になってレナが去年からずっと持っていた不信感も俺たちが持っていた後悔も全部吐き出し合った。だから俺たちは今こそようやく本当
に今更だね。いつも罪は手遅れになってから気づかされる。
そうでもねえさ。例えば俺は仲間であるレナの今回のこの出来事を理解できる。
理解できるって？
人の命を奪うのは許されることじゃないっていう道徳的なことはもちろん理解している。でもそれを理解した上で仲間であるレナがこうするほかなかったことを理解する。だから俺はレナを汚らわしいと思わないし恐ろしいとも思わない。次に同じようなことがあったら今度はこういう結果にならないように悩み合おう。だけど すでに起こってしまったこの出来事を、俺は理解する。理解ってのは、つまり、許すということだ。俺は、レナのこの行為を否定したりしない。
I said that to everybody this time. I said it to all my friends.
俺は、レナのやったこの出来事をこれしかどうしようもなくて、悩み抜いた上で至った最後の最後の手段だったってことを受け入れる。だから、俺はレナに協力しようと思う。
ケイちゃん。
もちろん、殺した理由が金目当てだとか、そんなくだらねえのだったら、警察へ叩き出してやってるぜ。だけどな、レナはそんな気持ちでやったんじゃない。どうしても逃げられなくて、悩み抜いた末に至った今日なんだ。レナの罪は、そこに至るまでに、俺たちに相談しなかったことを。だけど、それを俺は許す。だから、今日に至ったその行為も、俺は許す。
圭一。
だから、みんなもレナも、今日に至るまで、それに気づけず、レナを、それが、今日を招いた俺の罪だ。
圭一さん。
このヤバい袋の山を知ったのは、俺たちだけだ。俺たち全員が秘密にすれば、それでおしまいだ。レナは何も気にすることはない。
I'm starting to notice some interesting parallels between you guys and the people who murdered the damn foreman.
最初の予定通りに、この袋をどこかに隠しちまおうぜ。
Because they initially made a promise themselves to keep a secret what happened to him, yeah? Even though that promise was very quickly broken.
そして全員で塩でお清めでもして、一丁上がりだ。そしたら俺たちは、すべての罪を許し合おう。そして取り戻そうぜ。本当に平穏な日々を。これだろう。レナが本当に選びたかった未来ってやつは、こっちなんだろう。最善の選択肢は。
圭一くん。
I jumped on the hood of the abandoned car Rena was standing on, and I reached for her hands.
認めろ。こっちが本当にレナが来たかった世界なんだよ。レナが本当に選びたかった選択肢なんだよ。確かに、この選択肢はレナ一人だけじゃ選べない。レナと俺たちが互いに手を差し伸べ合ってしか選べないんだ。つまり、俺だけが差し伸べても意味がないんだよ。俺だけじゃない。みんなが差し伸べる。だからレナ、お前も手を伸ばせ。それで互いに手を掴み合って、初めてお前は本当に選びたかった選択肢の向こうの世界に行けるんだよ。
圭一くんの言葉は本当なら嬉しいよ。
You fucking better.
でもみんなもそうだとは限らないよ。
A little hand touched mine. It was Rika-chan.
リカちゃん。レナは決して汚れてなんかいない。あなたは決して屈しなかった。そして、こんなにも泥だらけになりながら、そんなあなたを、どうして私は認めずにいられるのか。
Rika-chan's small hand was strong, and she spoke eloquently.
私は、逃れられない不幸の迷宮に飲まれ、すべてに失望する堕落の心地よさを知っている。だからこそ、たった一人で屈することなく戦い続け、今日を得たあなたのたくましさが理解できる。
You honestly really can, can't you?
そんなあなたが身近にいることを誇りに思おう。私も圭一と同じ。あなたの罪を許す。だからあなたも。リカちゃん。私は無力な小娘だけれど、 自分も運命に屈しないレナのように戦う。だから私をあなたの仲間として許してもらいたい。
Rika-chan usually acts childish, but now she was like a totally different person. She meant every word she was saying. And then another little hand reached out to ours.
サトコ。
Satoko put her hand over mine, and Rika-chan's. She didn't say anything, looking down for a while. Rika-chan urged her to speak.
私もリカも両親を失って一人ぼっちですけれど、今日までそれを嘆いたことはありませんでしたよ。皆さんという仲間という家族がいたから。私はこれからも皆さんとレナさんと仲間という名の家族でありたいと思っていますのよ。家族同士だからこそ時には全てを打ち明け合うのは当然ですわ。だから今日はいいきっかけになったと思ってますの。互いの罪を許し合う機会が恵まれたことに感謝いたしましたよ。
仲間という名の家族か。サトコにしちゃいい例えだな。
レナさんの罪を許しますわ。どうか私の罪も許してくださいませ。
A big hand reached out for ours. It was Mion's.
仲間の大切さを語るのは部長である私の役目だと思ってただけに、いやはや私も部長失格かななんて。
ミオ。
ごめん、ふざけたね。
Mion still smiled and scratched her head.
レナの境遇を察しなかったことを仲間として部長として恥じるよ。許してほしい。もちろんレナが私たちに相談しなかったことも許すよ。それは私が打ち明けるに足る存在じゃなかったってことだからね。私はリーダーであらねばと日々努力しているはずなのに全然至ってなかった。その未熟さは私の責任だから、レナの罪を許す。
レナ、俺たちは全員手を重ねて差し伸べたぞ。こっちは全部揃った。あとはお前だけなんだ。手を伸ばせ。こっちへ来い。お前が本当に来たかった世界はこっちなんだ。もう手は全員が差し伸べてる。あとはレナだけなんだ。だからためらうな。
レナは人殺しだよ。
And they forgave you for it. Give him your hand.
きっとみんなに迷惑をかけるよ。
They know this. Give him your hand.
レナ、私たちは。
リカちゃん、もう余計なことは言わなくていい。俺たちは全員で手を重ねて差し伸べている。この事実にこれ以上上塗りする言葉は何も必要ない。だからレナにだって言葉はいらないんだ。ただ黙ってこっちへ手を伸ばせばいいんだ。来いレナ。夢とか幻とかじゃない。ましてや手遅れでも何でもない。レナにはまだ選べる選択肢が残ってるんだ。だから選べ。間に合う。来るんだ。俺たちはやり直せるんだ。
Rena slowly reached out, and her hand touched ours. She didn't hold our hands. All she needed to do was to touch our hands to show us her will. Rena chose to live, to share her life with her friends, rather than to refuse them for the rest of her life. I took a step close to her and firmly grabbed her wrist. It was getting dark. Some stars had appeared in the sky. We all forgave each other for our sins for the first time. And it was a little embarrassing, but Rena's tears made us all cry, and we just kept crying together. We stood in a circle, holding each other by the shoulder and putting our heads together in the middle. We are a family made of friends. We forgave each other, and we were happy together. There's a memory in the back of my mind, but it's not supposed to exist. I tried to save one of my friends in that world. In order to do that, I rejected all of my other friends. I acted recklessly alone, and I brought about the end of the world. I wouldn't go that far, but it was pretty catastrophic. The situation we had here is the same as the incident in that faraway world, in the sense that the people had been deprived of their lives in order to save one friend of mine. But other than that, it was different. We have Rena, Mion, Satoko, Rika-chan, and myself. Nobody was missing. Satoshi! We were going to regain them. We were going to regain those happy and peaceful days. The road going there might be a little rough, but we'll walk it together. We all will. We went to the place in the mountains of Higurashi that Rena had picked for burying the bags. Carrying the corpses is a scary thing to do, but it made us united more strongly because of that. Since each part of the corpses is in a separate plastic trash bag, we can tell what's inside in each bag by touching it. First, we forced ourselves to laugh whenever we had to touch the bodies, because we were scared. But after a while, we got used to it, to the point where we could make jokes about it. This is all incredibly morbid, but I guess it's definitely better than the alternative. Of course, all of that was probably a bluff, but we all tried our best. Mion somehow had detailed knowledge of how to hide corpses, and she told me to dig the hole deeper. Mion-chan helped carry the bag. Rika-chan, helped carry the bags. Satoko used her talent of setting traps to perfectly camouflage the place where we buried the bags. Me? I was in charge of digging the hole. You're the workhorse in this group, so dig that hole, bitch. Rena dug it earlier, but I made it a little deeper. After we finished all that, we walked back to the place where we parked our bicycles, and we looked back to the place where we buried the bags. It was completely unnoticeable. We'd never be able to find the place once again once we left our home. That's how perfect it looked.
よっしゃ、みんなお疲れさん。これでおしまいだね。帰ろ帰ろ。
Mion said cheerfully, as if we just finished club activities or something. We had no more bags to carry, and we no longer had any burden to carry either. We got on our bicycles, but Rena was still standing there, looking into the distance.
おいレナ。
あ、ごめん。ちょっと熱が出ちゃったみたいで、なんかぼーっとする。
You didn't catch the bug, did you? I hope not. Although you probably did, and now I'm gonna have to worry about you going down the rabbit hole of insanity that it seems to bring. Reina's face looked slightly red. Mion touched Reina's forehead. It was actually a little warm. She had a tough day today. She had to go through so many things. She had to find a place to hide the corpses. She had to dig a hole. We caught her with the bags. We talked about our feelings. And we forgave each other. She must be exhausted after a day like that.
レナ、今日は帰ったらゆっくり休め。
ありがとう。そうするね。
レナ、私たちはもう全部許し合ったんだよ。だから、自分を責めちゃダメだからね。
やっぱり、みんなの言う通りだったよ。
何がだ？
やっぱり私、自分を騙せてなんかなかった。どう自分の行為を美化したって、私は心の中で恐ろしいことをしたと怯えていた。みんなに助けてもらって、ここまで来てこんななんだもん。もしみんなと会わずに、一人で全てを片付けていたら、私は耐えきれず、潰されてしまったかもしれない。
She said all of this with a bitter smile. It might take her a long time to heal from the pain. But it must be 100 times shorter than the time it would have taken if she did this all alone. Rena's home was the closest from here. Rena went her way, and the four of us were left behind. Mion made a suggestion.
明日からなんだけどさ、みんな揃って今日のことを忘れるのがいいと思うんだけど、どう思う？
そうですわね。それが一番レナさんにとって優しいことになると思いますわ。レナは強い人です。僕たちがそう振る舞えば、レナもそう振る舞ってくれますですよ。
振る舞いもずっと続けてれば本当になるって言うもんな。
Depends.
語らないことで、そのうち私たちは忘れていくよ。そして完全に忘れきった時が私たちのゴールだね。
おそらくその日は一生かけて来るか来ないかを探ることになると思いますです。
Well, I'd certainly be wondering about that too, if I were in your shoes.
そうかもしれませんわね。簡単に忘れられることではありませんでしたよ。
仮に生涯忘れられなくてもいい。大切なのは最後まで全員の胸にしまって秘めておくことなんじゃないかと思う。
思い出させない方が大事だからね。
We nodded in agreement, just as my house came into view.
じゃあな、みんな。明日また学校で。いつもの通りに。
いつもの通りに。いつも通りにトラップに引っかかり遊ばせですわね。
じゃあね、ケイちゃん。
I wasn't expecting things to go as well as they have, all things considered. Not gonna lie. Although I can't help but wonder if if maybe I really should have expected this, considering who we're dealing with. After I parted with them, I still felt hot and dizzy. It felt really weird. I was even staggering to the front door. I felt as if I was floating in the air, just like I took some very strong cold medicine. Today, something very shocking, something that made me super happy, and something very embarrassing happened to me. Oh shit, I think I realize now. If you're experiencing the symptoms, then I think I might know what could have triggered the bug. You breaking down in front of your friends after all that. Good going, Keiichi. You are the unwitting instigator of doom this time around. Again. I felt as if my heart and mind were about to explode because they were filled to the brim with both happiness and sadness. I don't know whether I made a crucial mistake today, or if I had the happiest day of my life. I don't know which it is, and all I could do was stare blankly into space. I felt frustrated, too. Even though they were my friends, I was caught in the act of abandoning the corpses. But at the same time, I felt relieved that my reliable friends accepted what I did. Those emotions were all mixed up in my heart, and they were equally strong, making it difficult for me to decide what I was feeling. I was losing my sense of balance. It was like the world was warping around me. I heard sounds as if I was in a shower. Everything left me with a feeling of unreality. When those emotions were about to make me lose control, I felt a heat on my wrist. Your wrist? The part where Keiichi couldn't grab me earlier started throbbing. My feelings weren't cooperating with me, but the heat on my wrist calmed them down for me. I didn't know how to express what I felt when my friends and I held shoulders together in a circle earlier. But the feeling was the only thing I knew to be real.
ただいま。あれ？
As soon as I opened the front door, I smelled it. Making dinner, Daddy? It smelled really good. My father isn't good at cooking, but he likes to cook creative dishes. I remember he used to cook something very challenging whenever he was in a good mood. So, this smell was a sign that he felt that way. That's why I always liked this smell. The reason he's in a good mood is because he found a job. Good going, man! And not just any job. He found a job with a company created by his friends from his old workplace. They remembered my father and promised to hire him. Again, good going on you. He told me that some of his other colleagues from the old company are also working there. It must be very encouraging for him to work with people he knows, because he hasn't worked for a long time. The dinner looked great, in contrast to how it tasted. It was a dinner to celebrate his new life, to show his determination, to regain his bond with his daughter, and to make a clean start. I talked about a lot of things with my father that night. It had been a long time since the last time I talked to him like this. I don't remember when it was, but it reminded me of the days I was still happy, which meant that I'd finally returned to that time. My father still believes that Teppei is coming back one day, so he's still very cautious about locking the doors and windows, and he gets scared every time someone rings the doorbell. I told him so many times that he'd never come back, but I couldn't convince him, because I couldn't tell him the reason why they won't. He'll eventually realize that he's free. I'm sure it won't take too long. My heart was full of many, many emotions that day. If emotion could actually burst a heart open, it might happen to me. My brain must have been overworked because of so many things happened at once. My head was still fuzzy, but I managed to crawl into bed. It felt like the ground was moving. I totally lost my sense of reality. I remember that I once felt like this when I got the flu. I might get a high fever tomorrow. But I don't care. I don't care if I get sick tomorrow. I care! I just want to enjoy the fact that I took a step towards the future of my decision. Keiichi-kun told me something like that today. The high fever and the dizziness made me feel frustrated for some reason. But whenever I felt frustrated, I felt the heat on my wrist, too. I grabbed my wrist with my left hand tightly. It made the frustration go away, and it brought me relief. Even the dizziness I didn't like just before made me feel like I was in a down-filled futon. I was falling asleep in that down-filled futon on my first night in a new world. This dizziness didn't go away for a few days, but I gradually got used to it. This new world looked like the world I used to live in before. But the sunshine was a little bit brighter, and Keiichi-kun's smile looked a little bit more gentle than before. We made more noise than we used to. We spent every day slowly, but in high spirits. Oh, what an idiot I am. I underestimated that dizziness, and I caught a summer cold in June. I wanted to get better as soon as possible. I should have taken a day off from club activities, but I forced myself to play with them every day, and it made it hard for me to get better. I finally learned my lesson recently. I don't need to feel frustrated. There's no limit to happiness in this world. As long as we keep wishing for it, it'll continue forever. I don't need to feel frustrated anymore, because tomorrow I will have the happiness I have today. We'll have the Watanagashi Festival next Sunday. It's coming! Michan tells us that we'll have a lot of fun, and that we'll go extra crazy. I really can't wait. New tips unlocked. Letter from the forestry office. Don't tell me someone already found their corpses. It's still June, yet the air is filled with the cries of cicadas. How's everyone in Hinamizawa doing? The Watanagashi Festival is coming just around the corner. We staff members from the Forestry Service are going to perform a wood sculpting demonstration at the festival. We'll be happy to lend out our tools and teach your kids how to sculpt the wood themselves. It'll be an excellent memorial gift. Also, we would like to inform everyone that we're going to cut down trees in the local hills this summer as part of the number XX 4th Forest Landscape Management Project. And some of the trees that you're going to be knocking down, let me guess, just so happens to be near where they buried the bodies. Yes? This project involves preserving the beauty of the forest by cutting down old trees and planting new ones. The Forestry Service needs volunteers who are interested in helping us cut down the old trees. You can enjoy the beauty of nature under the blue sky while helping out with this preservation activity. The project will begin during summer break, so you can bring your kids too. This will be a good opportunity for your kids to learn about nature and have a valuable experience. The locations of the project are the forests in Takatsudo and Yaguchi areas. Yeah, I really am starting to think that's probably what's going to happen. Those trees are going to get cut down, and those corpses are going to be found. Fuck. I know that nothing lasts forever and all. That saying applies to pretty much everything, but for crying out loud, things are moving so freaking quickly in a lot of ways. Well, I guess if there is one plus side to all of this, it's that at least Rena now knows here that they've all matured, and even with murder, they're still the closest of friends. So even if everything else goes to crap, they should still have each other. At least that's what I'm hoping. I mean, that wasn't really quite the case in all the previous chapters, but maybe this time will be different. Maybe I could try being at least a little optimistic about this. But just a little. Because I'm pretty certain that it's still going to end up pretty horribly for everybody. So, I think I'm going to go ahead then and end this episode here. I hope you guys enjoyed this latest episode of Higurashi When It Cried Kai, Chapter 6. If you did and you want to see more content from me, feel free to subscribe to my channel. I will see you all next time. Take care.